गुड मॉर्निंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट। गना शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। वेल, Iran, Israel, and USA, they are the worrisome threesome for all of us. And now you see that Trump has jumped into the ring squarely. It's just a matter of time. And unfortunately, you see in this ring, there's no referee, so we don't know which side the whole thing is going to swing. But having said that, I like this question. Is this the most expensive lunch in history? Yes, it is in Pakistan's history. But we'll do that a different day, maybe in the evening, maybe tomorrow. Right? I did that in Hindi yesterday, but I think we'll have to do it in English later on. Right. Before I start, I'd like to request everyone, if you like this, whatever I'm going to speak, do press the like button and ask you to subscribe. Suddenly, I find over the past 2 days, for some funny reason, the number of subscribers are just not there, right? I suppose so, for whatever reason. I mean, I can't this thing. But if you are here, please subscribe. Okay, let's get ahead with the whole story. This business is becoming, what shall I say, serious. Okay, but a bit of history. In the 50s, I mean, do you know that Iran and Israel were the best of pals during Shah's time? And they wanted a pipeline. They wanted a pipeline from Israel around the Arabian Peninsula through Bab al Mandeb and across Israel onto Haifa and out. Uh, just think, half a century later, where they are. Right. But then, having said that, look, this is what today morning's news. It appears that Trump has approved an attack plan. He's very clear. The whole thing is in place, and we'll see how it's going. But he's not taken a decision whether to go to war or not, and we'll see why. Right? Oh, just to give a background, we know that Trump has given a call for unconditional surrender, and then okay, uh, there was also a possibility that Ayatollah Khamenei would get knocked off, but then Trump said no, don't do that. He stopped Israel from doing that. We know that for the past 3 days, any day US could get into the conflict with Iran, and Netanyahu and Israel have led virtually US into this. They've backed US into a corner by their actions. And if Benjamin Netanyahu wants one thing, he wants those big bombs to go and hit Fordo. I'll talk of this. We'll talk of those bombs, massive ordnance penetrators, so that you have an idea what they are, because these are spoken of but hardly understood. One interesting thing about this whole story is Russia and China have been marginalized very badly, right? And they don't seem to be anywhere in the picture. Again, I'll talk of that in the evening, because I think we need to talk what is there in India, or rather, what is there for India in this whole story. Especially considering the fact that our Prime Minister spoke the way he spoke to Mr. Trump, and no one else has spoken that way. So I think that's important. Iran is, of course, defiant. They've said, look, you enter the war, we'll hit you. And there are a lot of American bases and targets there, so they could hit. But that is only going to, escalate the situation further. If any American, is targeted, or base or facility is targeted, or if any other Middle East country is targeted, I think America will have no choice but to enter the war in full-blown story. I mean, overall, if you see, this whole story is about regime change, oil dominance, and things like that. Something important is happening here. That is why I put Russia and China are marginalized up front. And of course, what is not there is Pakistan has been sucked into it. Pakistan, USA is like a vacuum cleaner. वो लगाता है तो पाकिस्तान अंदर आ जाता है. So there are no free lunches for Pakistan, and I think it's going to have a tough time going ahead. But that I'll leave it either tomorrow evening with in Jaipur dialogues. I'll talk of it, or anyway today evening I'm going to talk of India and India's outlook because I think that's important. Uh, many people say that Israel is a smart bomb trap. I like this euphemism. Israel has got itself into a smart bomb trap. Okay, what's this? Now, uh, to give a little bit of a background, Israel's air campaign, you know, had two aims, or rather, it's coming out as two aims. They started with taking out the nuclear facilities, but today, if you look at it, it's looking at regime change. It's also looking at wiping out Iran's military facilities using air power alone. But that's a story which we'll talk of a little later. It's it went in with a lot of confidence. Now people say it's a lot of overconfidence. And that overconfidence was based on precision weapons, intelligence, and the belief that they can stop this nuclear program. I don't think that is actually the case. I think Israelis knew that they can't knock off the uh, Iranian nuclear program because you can't knock off vast infrastructure. You can't walk right with just airstrikes. You have to actually go and destroy them. And not only you can't destroy them just like that, you can't walk into a nuclear reactor or a nuclear site and go and blow up that reactor. There will be a huge problem like Chernobyl. So you have to know how to decapacitate it. You need to have technology with it. And the armed forces don't have this technology. Let me tell you. Look, I can tell you with a lot of authority on this because at some point of time I was the general officer commanding of the Mumbai area, Mumbai, Gujarat, Goa, and all that. And Bark was in my area of jurisdiction, so I know this what I'm talking of. It's not easy. It's just not easy. Just don't get away with the optics of what Israel has done. Iran is not done. In fact, I see Iran's resolve is getting hardened. Look, it all depends on how much pain you can take. This is where I want to highlight. See, Pakistan couldn't take pain. On the fourth day, they put up the white flag. They said, sorry, we can't do. Because more pain to Pakistan, another 2-3 days, then Munir would have had different issues. Okay. And I thought the nuclear issue was out of the equation by the third day. And he ran to Pakistan because, he ran to USA. They couldn't take pain. Whereas Iran will take pain, and Iran has a history of this. Like Iran, they are ideological regimes, or for that matter, Vietnam. They're prepared to take pain. Even China, for that matter. See, in the trade war, they've taken a lot of pain. Tolerance of pain, national pain, is important, and I think Iran has this. Uh, look, let me also put it. I don't like the Iranian regime. I don't like it for the simple reason ever since, why are they acquiring nuclear weapons? They want to acquire nuclear weapons to destroy America, to destroy Iran. It's not to defend themselves. Like, for us, it's for, we said, no, we want to defend India from inimical. No, but these chaps want to destroy USA and they want to wipe off Israel from the face of the earth and every Jew. That's their stated position, mind you. So I don't like that, right? So because their whole story is that. And to that extent, I think Iran needs to be denuclearized if they don't have a good polity. And they don't have a good polity at this point of time. But having said that, whatever good, bad, or ugly, Iran is hardening its stance. It's not going to give up. If this doesn't go to a successful conclusion, you're going to have Iran, which has fissile material, which has technology, which has the raw, material to make a bomb. It's got the technology of delivery. It's got the technology of manufacture. The technology of weapon manufacture is a matter of time. They can get it from North Korea, China, or Russia. If there's no deal, if it doesn't end well and all. So now I think they're at a, Israel and USA are at a stage where if they don't deal with this intelligently and conclusively, it leaves Israel vulnerable over the longer horizon. It's not, Israel won't be as secure. Yeah, you can kick the can down the road in this whole thing, say by about 4, 5, 6 years. But if this regime, this Ayatollah regime continues, Israel has a problem. And mutatis mutandis, USA also has a problem. Okay, what would be the aim of any campaign now? What would be the aim of the US campaign into Iran? I'm now taking it higher. It's no more Israel's story because with USA about to enter the war, let's examine that. Is it regime change or denuclearization? Because each has connotation. How you go about doing that, you have connotations. To do both means all out war. Okay. To do one and not the other might not be easy. Your approach has to be different for each. Okay. And is there still a deal left? Doubtful. And if nothing, can Israel sustain its campaign? It also, the analysis and a lot of people who I keep listening and reading, they feel that Israel might not be able to sustain its campaign anymore. I mean, it's not that Iran can't, it can. Iran is also somewhere there only. Both Iran and Israel are degraded. The only difference is Iran has to defend. So you have to defend your. Now it's a matter of land force. It's not no more. Air war will take you only that much. Okay. So what are the options ahead? USA can just join the air campaign and say, okay, I destroy his, nuclear assets and come out. But will that get to that first aim of denuclearization, regime change? Because that's important. You don't want to get into regime change, fine, but you have to completely denuclearize having gone to this level. Otherwise, the regime will come back with the nuclear bomb. Okay. Is there an option of putting boots on ground? Is there an option of putting boots on ground limited, that you create conditions, go in, destroy facilities, and come out, or you go in and capture, or you get like these days they're talking of that Shah's son. He suddenly come into the prominence. In my way of looking at it, it's not going to be easy because at this point of time, Iran uh, doesn't have an alternative. There's no alternative leader. We know that there is a lot of dissent in Iran, but equally there are a lot of people who still are with the regime. They still don't want, and if this whole story continues the way it is, people will only go against, Israel and USA. So Iran is going to be a tough nut. Now I want to put across one issue, okay, which I'll come to it. Yeah, this is it. This is New York Times headline. Okay, it says Trump, Iran, and the specter of Iraq. We bought all the happy talk. If you go to the article, they're saying, look, when USA went into, or the ISF also, Tony Blair and all these fellows went into Iraq. Everyone said they have weapons of mass destruction and this is going to end easily. It never ended easily, now, or there were there weapons of mass destruction. Okay, it's still now Iraq is destabilized. Yeah, Americans made a lot of money. Americans oil companies made a lot of money. Lot of American firms made a lot of money out of reconstruction, but it still left them destabilized by taking Sunni back Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein was a Sunni guy, and the Baath party out. What happened over the next 10 years, 15 years, is that Iraq spread its Sunni Shia crescent. The Shia crescent went right across up to Hezbollah in Lebanon and even down into Yemen. So what will happen now if you replace uh, Iran or you go into war with Iran? What are the realities? Realities is this. In this case, they don't have weapons of mass destruction as yet, or rather, we don't know, but that's a question mark. Let's assume they don't have. But what we know is they have enriched uranium up to 60%. And what we know is they have the complete facility, like I said, from uranium mines to the capability of enrichment. What we know is that they have violated IEA protocols. Okay. So, but again, to go to speak for Iran, they did it because that Trump pulled out of the deal in 2015. Trump pulled out of the deal. If probably that original nuclear deal of 2015, which I spoke of 3 days back, 4 days back, was allowed to continue, right? This problem wouldn't have been there because at this point of time, complete nuclear facilities of Iran would have been under IEAA safeguards. And as per that, they couldn't go enrichment more than 3.5. It was only after Trump got out of the deal, they expanded their enrichment capability and now gone up to 60. They say 60, but my guess is somewhere they would be up a little more. And we'll talk of this towards the end. Okay. Now, is there support within USA? If you see, this is the support pattern. Republicans also are not fully supporting. Only 47% are supporting. 53% are against, even within Republicans. Democrats are completely, there's no support. So you see the orange is more than the blue. So domestically, there's not much support for Trump at this point of time to go into a war. And he's not built adequate coalitions. Yeah, definitely, Britain is on the ball. Germany and France so far have not come. No one has come out unequivocally. And NATO as a whole, anyway, Trump G has destroyed, or rather, there's no consensus. So Trump does not have political support, either at home or outside to prosecute a war. A case is not fully made. They have not gone into the legalities of getting UN on their side. It's outside UN. That's the difference. Iraq, the whole thing was underwritten by UN. Whether good, bad, or ugly, that's a different story. It was done. But in this case, nothing is there. There's no story of international support. In fact, the story is of international opposition. The Islamic countries oppose it, China opposes it, Russia opposes it. The rest are all prevaricating. Okay. The West, of course, tacitly approves USA to go in, but USA is to go in. The issue is this is the next big war for USA. Will the US agree to it? Will Trump venture into it? We all know Taco. Trump always chickens out. So we are going? Are we heading into that? Will he chicken out or go ahead? We'll know. We'll know. Okay, because I don't see, or will just Trump say, okay, I'll come bomb the Fordo EAO and then pull out. It's not so easy. And then leave the baby to Israel to sort out. It's not so easy. Once you get committed, you'll get sucked in. But we'll see how the whole story is going. Preparations, USA is fully on track. Now, you look at this tweet which came out, and I think, just in US has announced deployment of USS Ford strike group in there. Already there are two, Nimitz and Calvinson. There's the third, Ford, and already there's a fourth. The fourth is the British uh, aircraft carrier, which is already there. If you remember, a few days back, one of the F-35s, which is to land on the British carrier, came and landed up in Trivandrum. It's still there. So there are four carrier groups in this area, which means not only four carrier groups, that much troops are there. It's not only that there are a lot of tankers which have been flown in from USA. So, right, everything is ready, and they prepared these bunker busters. So preparation wise, I think USA is ready to do its trick. What will be that trick? How it will execute? The options. Option is, like I said, first option, just go in for limited strikes on nuclear facilities and pull out, and let Israel do the thing. Otherwise, you go complete the air campaign and hope like hell achieve everything through air. And the third, of course, is then invasion, limited ground insertion, and the fourth is full invasion. These are the four options which are there. But let's look at this, because this has been in the news. Okay, what is this? This is the massive ordnance penetrator. Okay, this is huge, 30 tons. Not a small thing. It's a huge thing. This is the, let me highlight it fully. Yeah. This is the height. Just think, this is the height. 3 times this a man with who's 6 feet. Huge piece. It's a heavy punch. What does it do? It comes, that gets released almost on top, goes in, penetrates to a fair distance, and then takes the target out. Okay, will this penetrate into Fordo? We'll have a look. Okay, now there's the GBU. The massive ordnance penetrator is also called the GBU. It is carried on the B-52 bomber. Right, now let me see. Yeah, I hope you can see it fully. Yeah. Okay. It 30,000 pounds, right? It's called the massive ordnance penetrator. It can only be carried by the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber, and these have been moved in there, right? Okay, which are the ones which are going to get targeted? As usual, which I said earlier also. Right, these are the targets which are now going: Fordo, Natanz, Isfahan. Bushehr is also in the thing, but I'll talk of Bushehr later. Okay, these are the ones which enrichment facilities which they want to knock off. But knocking off the enrichment facilities won't knock off the enriched fuel. That's the danger. As per reports, there are a couple of enrichment facilities north of Tehran at a place called Karaj. Some of the enrichment facility there has been knocked off, but that's later. Now this is Fordo, right? It's next to Qom. Right, you look at this. This is Tehran. South of this, about 200 kilometers, is Fordo, and further south is, Natanz. Okay, this is the Fordo facility. It's tucked into hills. So this is the thing. We don't know exactly where inside. All people know is there are entrances. An entrance here, a couple of entrances here, a couple of entrances here, and the air duct and all that. All this is there. Where exactly? I mean, they would know. Now, will these deep penetrator ordnances, bombs work? We don't know. I'll tell you why we don't know. And the reason why we don't know is this has never been actually used anywhere. It's only been tested. People say it will work, but let's see how it goes. And then there's another issue when you use such things. You see, if you have enriched uranium, the enriched uranium by itself is not dangerous. It might be radioactive if disturbed, but by itself it's not dangerous. Enriched uranium becomes a bomb when it achieves a critical mass first, There's a critical mass in which there's fission going. Right. In a gun type of a projectile, there are two subcritical masses. There are two subcritical masses brought together by force, and that triggers fission. By that force triggers fission, and of course, there's a fission gun for that, and then the fission reaction uh, starts. I've put it, given it to you in as simple as possible. Layman's languages. They're brought together. Why? Why am I talking like this? If this uranium is kept somewhere, and by force of this explosion, it gets compressed or something happens, and that becomes supercritical, or the critical mass is achieved, then there's a problem. Then it's an uncontrolled nuclear explosion. It might be underground, but it'll be there. And 60 kgs of uranium going up is a lot of damage. So that's the danger in this taking out all these things by deep penetrators and all that. So it's not only a matter of being able to reach there, it's also a matter of being able to, the technological approach to the whole story is important. The same thing goes for hitting a nuclear reactor like Bushehr, right? Bushehr is here. Bushehr is here. There's a nuclear reactor there. You go want to disturb it. You take the nuclear reactor out. It's like Chernobyl after that. How would you like to have 2-3 Chernobyls around and all the countries get affected? So this whole story is fraught with danger. Okay, but I'm sure the Americans have a plan for it. I have no doubt about it, and all that. But let's look at the map and understand, if anything they want to do here, you need bases in Iraq, you need bases in Saudi, you need bases in Oman, okay, all these places plus Pakistan, and that's where Pakistan has come into the mix. There are no free lunches for Pakistan. Pakistan is going to pay. It's going to be a very costly lunch for Mr. Munir. And what's come out so far is that Trump has manipulated him. Trump has given him a story, and it appears that Asim Munir agreed to it, even though he went and spoke in USA that look, Iran has to be supported and Israel has to be destroyed, kind of a story he went and gave to everyone. But he's singing a different story. The Canaries, the music is different. Because Munir has spent 3-4 days in that, Central Command at Florida. He's been primed. After that, for optics, he's been brought for lunch out there. And in lunch deke, he would have been, of course, he would have been given some packages and all that, or the alternate of not doing. So it is Asim Munir's with us or not with us kind of a moment which has happened. And Asim Munir has cowed down. As simple as that. As simple as that. He has been cowed down, and now Pakistan will have problems. I'll discuss that separately. We'll have to discuss a lot about it. And India's issue in that. But so this story is going to go one. Number two, understand this operation is not going to take, it's not going to get over easily. It's going to take time. Even if you do regime change, I mean, let's look at it. If you do regime change, you have to be there to stabilize that place for a long time. How long did it take for the Americans and the Britishers to get out of Iraq? Years. So you're going to see this a long time. And if that happens, Pakistan will get destabilized. And then the China factor, Balochistan factor, we'll speak of it separately in a separate episode, maybe tomorrow morning. Now, they will seek air bases at Pasni and Quetta. That is Samungli and this. And they're going to do all this from here. And, all these three chaps, Ziaul Haq, Pervez Musharraf, and now Asim Munir, have faced that moment. Either you're with us or against us. and they're facing it again. So, right, that's how things are. That's how life is for Pakistan. So there is a lot of opportunity for us in this. And in this context, what our Prime Minister conveyed to Mr. Trump is very important. And I'll do that in the evening, because we have to examine what is there in it for India, and what the importance of what the Prime Minister has said. This that whole story which our Foreign Secretary has said is for 4 minutes. So we'll have to listen to that and understand the nuances of that, which that analysis I'll do in the evening. Okay, let's look at air campaigns. Okay, there's one chap called Greengrass. He's talking like an idiot, but that's okay. That's part of the deal. He thinks he must be from Pakistan or China or some distance. So we'll leave him out of it. But you look at the history of air campaigns, which I've been telling. In the history of all these intervention operations and all that, there's never been a case where air campaigns have achieved regime change or anything. All this, US has not succeeded in Korean War or World War II. World War II, there was huge strategic bombing of Germany. It carried out for a month. And yet, after those 2 months, they destroyed infrastructure, they destroyed this, they destroyed everything. After that, they still had to struggle. The Allies had to struggle. I mean, you look at Normandy and how it went, and in stages, another next year, or rather next 2-3 months. And then Russia had to come in from the north. In fact, the Russians did more in World War II. The information or power of US and Britain and Hollywood have magnified the Allies' role, right? So the fact is that it has not achieved anything in Germany. It didn't achieve in the Korean War. It didn't achieve in the Vietnam War. It didn't achieve in the Gulf War itself. Shock and awe and all fine against in Gulf War 1. But US troops had to enter Iraq first time and the second time both. Or the war in the Balkans, or of course, the second is the Gulf War and Iraq War. They put it separately. Soviet Union or Russia could not do it in Afghanistan. They couldn't do it in Chechnya. It's not been done in Ukraine. Russia is still struggling. Everyone thought Ukraine is down and out. Isn't it? Everyone thought Ukraine is down and out, or Ukraine is still hitting Russia deep in. So let's not count Iran out. The point I'm trying to make is don't count it out. Even Israel also, they tried, aerial campaign against Lebanon earlier. Hezbollah earlier, it didn't work. Against Gaza, they have been hitting Gaza with air for so long, it has not worked. Even Syria earlier, it didn't work. Ultimately, what worked was they had to go in. They had to instigate a rebellion. You have to instigate a regime change. So all these issues are in. Okay. Let's look at denuclearization only. In this, even if you go in, you have to denuclearize. So what does it mean? It means you have to do something about the uranium ore and its mines. Iran has. What about the gasification plant at Isfahan? Enrichment facilities. Then all the nuclear reactors produce plutonium. You have to take that out. You have to scupper that. Where is that plutonium? Plutonium is all weapon grade. Okay. Now, if you do whatever you do by air alone, will you be confident of getting hold of all this? You need just one material for one bomb to put the heebie-jeebies on everyone. Again, I go see that movie called Peacemaker. George Clooney's Peacemaker. You'll understand what I'm talking. I mean, in fact, I think it's a must for everyone to see that movie. Right. The next thing is, if USA gets into the whole story fully, USA will be the prime target tomorrow. There's not going to be peace in Iran in a hurry. There'll be something will happen. So all these things must be going on in Mr. Trump's mind. At least I hope so, right? And it's not going to be easy. And of course, they might go in still, but let's see. We know that their thing is, this second point is important in this. The second point is what I said, the Bushehr nuclear reactor. It's a huge problem. Even if you destroy that nuclear reactor, tomorrow you can destroy that nuclear reactor because it's overground. Then you have a Chernobyl incident. And if you do all that, Israel still has missiles which will retaliate. Of course, the retaliation of Iranian missiles is reduced and their efficacy will be reduced. But definitely, Iran has something. Of course, there's no gainsaying the fact that Iran is isolated diplomatically and militarily. China has run. China ne baglia. And this is the interesting part which we need to understand. What is China's reaction to the whole story and what is the implication for us? The analysis which is coming out from Russian people are that by China has run away from battle. And I'll talk of it in the evening. Okay. So, Iran is isolated. That's the thing. Now, the dilemma with everyone is this. Without on-site inspection, without on-ground control, how will you know? How will you know what is happening in Iran? How will you know that it has been denuclearized? Iran won't allow it at this point of time. The deal is off. Okay. Now everyone is threatening each other. So where do you go? My assessment is very simple. What Trump is still doing, what Trump is still attempting to do is get the show of force, get these 4 aircraft carriers, this, that, and all that, and scare Iran into going in for a deal. Probably that's the best option and go for a deal, a controllable deal. But that kind of a thing will not be acceptable to Israel. So they'll puncture it. And like they've done this so far. After all, the same duo of Benjamin Netanyahu and Trump, they punctured that 2015 deal. Now they want to get back to that. It might be too late in the day. So you're at a stage where if there's a deal, fine. If there's no deal, I expect USA will be forced to hit. It might be only limited hits and then tell Israel to go in. And then there's a possibility of some commandos type of actions where you just go in for these nuclear reactors, AU and all that, pull them out and do whatever you have to do. And hope like hell a regime change takes place as a result of that. Or get in. Going in is not just from the south. You can only also go through Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan and Israel have very good relations. In fact, Israel has assisted Azerbaijan in the war against Armenia. Please remember this. Okay, very important. Yeah, if you see in this map, I'll talk some other day. This is the Azeri thing, and here Israel has links. Okay, so this is the dilemma where we are in today. Will the war happen? My guess is that Trump is prevaricating. The dilemma with everyone is okay. We know that Iran has new enriched uranium. They did enhanced enriched uranium, or rather, speeded up their uranium enrichment process in the past few months. From what they had, about 6 to 7 bombs, say in October, to now it has gone up. It's gone up to about 10 bombs. And there is no one with any degree of surety who can say that complete uranium is recovered till you go in. If you go in and do all this, you have to effect regime change. So everyone has got into a corner. The deal is still the best way out. and USA might end up in a war which it doesn't want, and that has ramifications on its own economy and the global economy, right? So this is where we stand. I'll take some questions now, and I hope again you people have liked what I've said. If you liked what I've said, do press the like button and subscribe to Ghana Shot. I'll be grateful. In the evening, I'll talk of India in this whole story. Where does it go? And if the war starts and everything, anyway, tomorrow morning we'll cover it. Okay. And I want, because I think we need to uh, understand where India is headed in this. What are the implications for India? Because what are the implications of Pakistan accepting this? What are the implications of China, the way it's behaving? What's the implication of Russia, the way it's behaving? And the way we have already put our foot forward. Right. Okay. So let's take some questions. Why doesn't Israel do what we did to Pak? Lack of technology? No, they have technology, they have everything. But how do you know that, the aim of Pakistan, what we did with Pakistan was different from what Israel aims to do? See, Pakistan for us was never an existential threat. We were an existential threat to Pakistan. We never wanted to obliterate the nuclear facilities because it was an improbable task. Whereas Netanyahu and Israel's aim is to obliterate the nuclear capability of Iran. That's the thing. They don't have the capacity for that. They don't have the technology for that also. Right? Okay. How much of previous protests in Iran orchestrated by US? Is there any inherent resistance to the regime in Iran? There is. A lot of this would have been orchestrated by US, but in the past 1-2 years, or maybe even 3 years. But the fact is that that has never threatened the regime, and there's no recognizable opposition leader. That's the point. Right. Okay. With American Israeli boots on ground in Iran would degrade this geography into a bloodbath zone. Wouldn't it be a matter of pride and self-preservation that would propel? That's what is going to happen. That's why I said it's not going to be an easy affair. If Americans or Israelis put their foot on ground, unless they have created conditions for them to succeed, they're going to have problems. And to create those conditions is going to take time. Okay. If war escalates and China still does nothing, would that nullify any claims of it being a superpower? Is it still a completely look? Yeah, I go with you what you're saying. I've always said that China is an economic superpower, it's not a military superpower. China blew itself up through information and disinformation, propaganda, and we have fallen for it. I've never been of the opinion that China was great. I still feel it's declining. China has run away, yeah? Please. China has always been running away from problems. We'll talk of it in the evening further. Yeah, I thought Ukraine is backed by NATO. It's still alive. I agree with you. I feel Russia's approach has been more responsible than US, especially by not using the nuclear. I quite agree with you, but still, America has also not used the nuclear option so far, isn't it? Look, you can't compare that with this. They're apples to oranges. You look at Russia, is it completely principled? Let me ask you, we keep talking of Russian help. During Op Sindoor, they kept quiet. Now, Putin is turning towards Trump. He's no more friendly with Iran. Iran and Russia had a pact. They had a treaty, or rather, deal, where they would recognize threats to each other and help each other and all. Is Russia helping Iran? No. Russia and China had a deal. That is under strain. So everyone acts to his interest. So let's not talk of anyone who's acted responsibly. I don't think so. With such massive attacks, the regime is still in control. Does it imply that it has complete support of the people? How can change be initiated under given circumstances? Look, the attacks by Israel are at one level. The fundamentals of the regime have not changed. Okay. So the regime has not become unpopular. You have to create conditions for that unpopularity, and you have to create an alternate power structure. If you don't have an alternate power structure, that's not there. I don't think in this case USA has been able to do that. Just going blasting a few mountains won't help. You need to understand it is something like Trump talking I mediated in between India and Pakistan without understanding what he's talking. Similarly, if Trump leads in USA into a war which he doesn't understand, and I can assure you he doesn't understand, USA is going to lose big time. Yeah, I'm afraid of the man who wants 10 nuclear weapons, Colonel. I'm afraid, terrified of the man who wants only one. I've always liked this line from the film Peacemakers. I completely agree with you. That's why I keep talking of Peacemaker. I don't think we can trust Israel control of Iran. Israel is, well, don't stretch it too far at this point of time where we are where we are. Okay. Oh, my father was a B-17 nose gunner, never talked of it. Oh, I like that. Yeah, people who actually fight, no, I don't talk of what I've done in fighting. I just talk of other things. Yeah. Yeah, Akash, I'll speak of what our PM said in the evening, right? A strong Israel is great for us in terms of IMEC. Yeah, I agree with you. But equally, we need Iran. Don't let's not let's be balanced. We need Iran for the north-south corridor. You invested in Chabahar, bhai. You invested paisa in Chabahar. Chabahar port, you've taken it on lease. You built it, and you need to operate it. A weak non-nuclear Iran is good for us. Yeah, I think so. A strong Israel is good for us. I agree. Yeah, yeah. Let me see. Yeah, is Munir and Trump lunch date so secret? No, no. Don't worry. That will all. It has already come out. Everyone is discussing about it. We know that's only to twist tail. If US aim is only to send back set Iran back a century, destroy power grid, oil infrastructure, and go home, can Trump do this without the US Congress? No, he can't. It's not easy. It's not easy. Look, you can send Iran back by a century, but Iran still has oil. It has got good people. You know, the Iranians are smart guys. They're intelligent guys. And whatever technology Iran has militarily, it has made it on its own. It doesn't depend completely on China or Russia. Let's understand that very well. Despite all the sanctions which they've been able to put up a fight, so don't underestimate Iran. Yeah, Iran will go back, but if it produces one backpack nuclear bomb and pushes it into say USA, see the effect. Yeah, regime change is not as easy it seems. A stable peace is good for us. I'd be nice if Iran recognizes. It'll be nice if Iran recognizes Israel. Not, with the current dispensation in Israel and the current dispensation in Iran, they'll not recognize each other. Yeah. Some people are saying that this war is beneficial to Pakistan and a huge strategic danger for India. Do you believe in this case? They are saying Chabahar is dead. I don't agree with anything. I don't agree with anything. Okay, we'll talk of it in the evening. Iran has already shifted their U-235 out in a safe secret base. The jokers do not know. I agree with you. Possible, Pete. They know this thing. Can we be the peacemaker as we are interested in both countries? Well, difficult at this stage because I don't think America will listen to anyone. They've been backed into a corner, and I don't see though we have the best credentials to now get peace. China will not be acceptable to Israelis. Russia will also not be acceptable to uh, US. But we will be acceptable. But are we prepared to do it is a question. Is it true that Trump has been the most outreaching president so far? No, I don't agree. I think he's very erratic in the way he's doing things. Yeah, your your caricatures, it's fantastic and funny. Your analysis is top notch. So, what wanted to know what is the Abraham Accord? I'll talk of it. It is just an accord which was then done in 2020 that uh, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Israel and all these Gulf sheikdoms and Israel will work with each other and progress to a peace. That's the fundamental. The actual thing I'll speak to you later. Was there a statement from Kremlin that Russia will enter the war if Iran does? Enter war if US does? No. They've said don't do it. There'll be repercussions, yeah, all that. Putin spoke to Trump. Trump told him, Vladimir, you take care of your problem, take care of Russia and Ukraine. Why are you getting in here? He's told him already. This is exactly what he said. Okay. So he says, you bother about Russia and you bother about Ukraine. You don't have the legs to come here. Okay. Trump getting out of JPOCA deal was planned to help Iran produce their nuke ambitions. Oh, well, maybe not. We don't know. But Trump pulled out. Okay. How can India help if we were a superpower? We're not a superpower, so we can't help too much. As simple as that. Uh, what is the status of IMEC in the current situation? It'll get a setback, but it'll eventually go up. Look, the IMEC as of this date is between India, UAE, and Saudi Arabia. It's progressing well. Oman, all these countries, it's progressing well. The idea is to extend it to Israel through Haifa, go to Piraeus in Greece, and go to Europe. That bit will get delayed. There's no doubt. Let's see how it goes. This won't. What will happen to Chabar port? There will be some setbacks, but that port is still operational and no one has attacked it, so it will continue. For all you know, it might come into prominence, Chabahar port, because if Bandar Abbas tomorrow is blocked, and also for all you know, USA and Israel might use Chabahar port for ingress into Iran. If they put boots, they'll need some place where they can land ships. Some people like Ayyar Mitra are saying that a collapse of Iran would be disaster for India and a boost for Pakistan. Do you agree? I don't agree. I don't agree with you at all because the collapse of Iran has issues. There are major issues. Okay. Or a regime change in Iran. Look, let me put it this way, and I'll talk about it in the evening. Iran is going into instability, and that instability will last 5 to 10 years. If there is instability on your border, you will be unstable. That instability is going into Balochistan. And if there's going to be problem in Balochistan, oh, you're looking at instability in Pakistan. You see, there's a huge trade between uh, Iran and Pakistan, oil trade, illegal oil trade. That will get hit. It's already hit. Okay. So, and then that has a lot of spin offs. So, we'll discuss this separately. There's no thing. Dekho yaar, I don't subscribe to what others think. I think, holistically. You have to look at it holistically. People just waffle by a few issues. There are more. And generally, I'm very clear that my kind of analysis, I've not been off the mark. I'm conservative, but I'm not off the mark. Okay, right. I think we have covered everyone. IR sounds smart when he talks. Most of what he, yeah, maybe I have not heard. Look, I don't even know. I know that fellow, and I don't like him, and I'll tell him on his face. You know why? This that ANI podcast. He, Sushant Sarin, and one more fellow, and that Smita Prakash. I'll tell them on their face. They spoke very derogatorily about the Air Force, and they said they're all duckans. And I thought that was absolutely useless. And the same Air Force performed so well in Opsindur. Okay, so I think such analysts are subpar. They don't have caliber. They don't know how to analyze. They don't know how to analysis comes from respect. You have to respect the other guy to get respect. I can talk ill about Iran. I can talk ill about Israel. It doesn't give respect. You don't give respect to each country and its capabilities. You can't be balanced, right? So we'll leave it at that. Yeah. Can USA do Opsindur against North Korea? Sorry, North Korea is beyond that. North Korea is out of their hands. Yeah, Tehsin Poonawalla. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, the third chapter is Tehsin Poonawalla. They, the same Air Force did so well, right? We shouldn't. I don't like them. In fact, I put them. These guys are samosa artists. Also, samosa ke dakka nahi. I will tell him on his face. I mean, leave it at that. There's USA become a fool once again, believing in radicalized Pakistan against another Islamic nation. We'll see what happens, because at this point of time they have to arm twist Pakistan to get it to work. Where it goes, let us see, because we are now going into unknown. Where do you see the Iran conflict going? Yeah, you'll have to ask this question to Trump. Even Trump doesn't know where it's going. He says, I don't know when to take this decision. So let's wait for that decision. But generally, this is going to be long. It's going to be torturous. It's not going to be easy. It depends on what America commits itself to or gets sucked in. Right? And I think Trump didn't play his cards well to get a deal. Right? Forget the fact that what he did in 2016-17 when he pulled out. Yeah. So we'll leave it at that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember this chap. Yeah. Anand Ranganathan. Correct. The fourth person that now I remember that idiot. I call him an idiot. You see, all these chaps talk big in social media and right-wing media and all. But the fact is, people should know how to respect their own forces. If you don't know how to respect your own forces, then and then now everyone is all these three chaps would have spoken highly about Opsindur and Air Force behavior and action and all that. And that is so silly. Yeah. Whole world should prop up a genuine woman leader in Iran. Hey, Arunachal, you asking? That's a big ask. That won't happen, right? Okay. Hmm. Bangladesh can be split, taking the advantage of the current. What will you do with splitting Bangladesh? Uh, I mean, you don't achieve anything. Yeah. If you had President Modi's here, what advice would you give him on Israel-India conflict? Israel-India conflict, Iran conflict, I suppose. I would tell him to start speaking to both and mediate. Get them to mediate if you can. Yeah, yeah. What you said is right. What will happen to Sistan, Balochistan if Iran becomes unstable? What will happen to Pakistan and Balochistan? That's the thing which I have to come to. I'll talk of it as we go along. Yeah, I agree with you. There's just not arrogance, bad talk of order forces. There's arrogance. Yeah, I agree with you completely. We shouldn't be arrogant, right? And I called them out, and after that, I've not spoken to them. Right. Yeah. Hello from USA. Thank you for doing these videos. I enjoy getting your perspective on these issues. Thanks a lot. It's an honor that you're listening to me from USA. I hope more people do listen, right, and join. It's a different perspective. It's a different world. After all, when you're living in the opposite sides of the world, you need to understand others' perspectives. And equally, one has to understand the Israeli perspective, the Iranian perspective, the Middle East perspective. The US also has a perspective, and this thing. And one has to do it coolly and professionally without having personal biases. For that matter, even the Pakistani perspective, one has to understand because for us, he's our adversary. Same thing with China. You have to understand. If you don't understand them, it's very difficult. That's why start looking at whether their interest rates have gone up or not, or whether they're eating food or not, or whether their demography is gone or not, to understand the Chinese mindset and the Pakistani mindset. Right. Uh, uh, Thanks a lot, Michael, for your compliment. Yeah, if Iran fails, Balochistan movement will be primed as a huge Baluch. Yeah, I agree with you. Let us see. Let us see how it goes. Right. With this, I think we'll wait till evening. I'll talk about the Indian angle in this whole story, and I would like to dissect what our Prime Minister has spoken because it's got a lot of depth. And that I don't see it coming out anywhere. I don't see that analysis coming out anywhere. So I'll talk of it in the evening. Right, till then, thanks for attending. And again, those of you who are coming to Gunner Shot for the first time, please do subscribe. And I'll be honored if you subscribe. Thank you and have a great day.